How does an IT programmer become a broadcast media powerhouse? That's the question that we're going to be answering on today's show. We have Theresa Goss, or better known as Tigo, here with us. She's a friend of mine. She's a friend of Tom's.
Just getting to know her, and I love her. Oh my God, we have so much in common. We'll probably bore some of you. We hope not. Well, thank you that you joined in today, Mike. Give us a shout out. Like our page. We're not too proud to say that. You know, share our page. We think that we're offering some information that's pretty good. So
check it out, facebook.com/thereallunchbreakshow. And we talked about
the real
lunch break show. Yeah.
Rolls off my tongue better. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I love it. And I've already liked the page, so I want to say that.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love it.
We're doing some new things, so tell them about the messaging.
Hey, well, I'm going to first tell you, we're in our second season, and Tigo, you gave us some encouragement. First time we're on the phone. Because you said, how many episodes have you done? And I said, we are at 52. And you said 70% of the shows do not make it past 7 episodes, correct?
Yeah, podcasts, yeah. They don't make it past. And you're looking at, 70% of the ones that actually start. There's thousands that talk about it for years and buy equipment and all of that, and they sit there and go, I don't sound right, I don't look right, I can't do it. I need to lose 20 pounds, I need to gain 20 pounds. This color yellow is awful on me. And they never start. So that doesn't even count those guys. These are 70% of the ones that actually hit the record button and put it out there. 7 episodes and they're out.
Well, I feel very blessed, Mike, that you've brought me into this relationship that you've had with
awesome.
Teresa.
Well, Teresa's doing some consulting with us and helping us with a lot of things, and going to be even helping with distribution and other things.
She knows 2 of our great friends.
Oh, yeah.
Beth and Chris Baden. So we had Chris and Beth. Wait. You guys made some great food last night.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on now. Did you guys see the commercial we did with their sons?
No.
I have to send it over.
Tigo, you in on that?
Oh, yeah. It was for my magazine. They came and did the commercial for my magazine. They were awesome.
Well,
they were awesome.
Tell us about it.
So we brought him into the studio, right? And Chris was like, oh, this will be awesome, because I had interviewed him. And he said, they're loving being in front of the camera. I said, great, let's make them little businessmen. So they bought them suits,
how cool.
Right? They walk in the door and they're like, where's the big green wall? And they look up and they're like, oh. They said, because Chris is American Ninja Warrior, right? Yeah. So he said, his son says, oh, we could climb that. I'm like, let's not. let's not, say we did. But
out of the mouth of children.
Right? We sit him down in the chair, we gave him the magazine, and the little brother is sitting there and he's playing. He's like, come on, play with me. Come on, play with me. And his brother goes, I can't. I'm doing the show notes. And he's reading the magazine. And it's the coolest thing.
But they're so intelligent.
Ever.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah, they were awesome. And then they get paid when they're helping people, when they're solving a problem. That's what they were taught. This is how you get paid when you're doing something good. So when I went to pay them as my actors, they were like, who did we help with this, Dad? I mean, they were like, wait a minute, hold on. Do we get to keep this? Who do we help with this?
Chris and Beth, good job, Mom and Dad.
Oh, they were awesome. They were awesome. I'll send you the commercial. I've watched that thing 100 times.
You know what? We'll share it on the
We will.
I
mean, there again, but I got to brag on Beth and Chris. And they were part of our church family in Bakersfield.
Okay.
So they're
here.
Yeah, and here. And so thank you for the dinner last night. I know Mike and I had a great time. Relationships are. Oh, you got to have the meatballs.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you.
Chris, I thought we were here, man. Okay, never mind. Okay.
So I love it. I just love the relationship we're in with you. We're doing a lot of things for our Lunch Break 2.0, our second season. Our first season, we were really excited about. I'm excited about the second one. Mike's our co-host today, but it's his relationship with Tigo, and I'm getting to join in. So as you tune in, you're going to see different guest hosts with their guests, and we're going to get to learn from them, and so I'm excited about that. As Mike said, if you have a question for our show, we're going to answer one today. Facebook Messenger us, so you can get us there, and would love to answer those questions.
And also Instagram.
Instagram's here. And
at The Real Lunch Break Show.
And I love that. At Facebook.com, The Real Lunch Break Show. I'm going to keep saying that all day long, at The Real Lunch Break Show. So today, the question that we have been given from our audience comes from our interview with Doug Lohman. Doug is our pastor in Valley Vegas. Got a great 2-segment interview with him. Doug, thank you so much. Doug was a professional baseball player.
Wow.
And it was just
And if you missed it, go back and watch it.
Yeah, rewatches are always welcome. But Doug challenged people during the interview that we need to be in a mentorship style relationship. As Mike and I talk, we see the Paul and Timothy relationship in the Bible.
Yeah.
Paul being the older and Timothy being there, but then Paul had Barnabas. So you see people having a relationship, because one of the best advices that I give young people now, I share with them what Paul shared with Timothy. Don't let people look down on your age.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2 young kids that are actually having a great integrity issue when you gave them money.
And don't let people look down on your age either, Tom.
I'm old. But
Wait a minute, hold on. You and I are really close. Watch it, Sonny.
Well, it's funny because as you're in this relationship, you got to find these. So the question came in, how do you find a mentor? Because Doug said you should. And then also the question came in, how do you find a mentor and you don't want to be a burden on them?
Yeah.
So can I just go in on this
Go.
one for you? Is I can share this because Mike and I've known you since you were 13.
Yeah,
You
long
know,
time.
And we've shared a lot of information about that. But Mike are in this relationship, but it's not an all give for me. I've had a lot of life experiences. My daughters are 25 and 21. You have young ones, so I can keep giving you advice on that. You and LaDavia do a great job. But Mike challenges me. Mike helps me with all my social media. Theresa, you might need to help me. Mike and I did a TikTok yesterday, the same TikTok. He posted it. He got over 250 views. I got 42.
It was your
It was
TikTok.
my TikTok.
I just reshared it.
I told Mike, what did I do wrong? I go, we used
They
the
like me
same
better.
song. We liked all. I go, it has to
And
be.
you have more followers.
I was like, how does that happen? And so I learned from Mike. So I tell people, as an older person, you need to be pouring wisdom. You've got life experience. The Bible says gray hair and these things called wrinkles and crow's feet give us legitimacy to talk into life's problems that you might be too young to stumble on yet. We can at least give wisdom on how to come out of it.
Yeah.
So you're not
Put a
going to be
little
a
light on the
burden.
path.
You're not going to be a burden. So I would tell the youngers to look to find somebody who has common interests with you. Maybe look for somebody that's already cracked the door open to a relationship. Ask them, there again, don't be bashful. Ask them if they'd like to go have coffee. Older people drink coffee. Maybe just not the same time you do. But just make sure that you both are making an effort. If you're a younger person, just put yourself out there. Wherever you go, whatever you like to do, there's probably a younger person, or if you're there as a younger person, there's probably an older person. Strike up a conversation. As we've talked, that art of conversation, we're losing it because it needs to be done.
Well, you've had a mentor in what you've done too, Theresa, in the production broadcast industry. You were telling us about earlier. And
I've had mentors my whole life, but my second home is Hong Kong, and a lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I
And
didn't know that.
I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong before COVID and all this good stuff. And the one thing I love that being in China is you can walk through a park on a Saturday and you'll see 50 to 100 people sitting. And you're like, what's going on? Is it a concert? Is it this? Is it that? No, it's an elder that is sitting in the park and they want to share.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
they sit and they just listen. And what we forget in this country, especially, what we forget is that, these people in front of us have done this already.
Yes.
And you might want to just reach out and say, hey, because they can keep you from running your nose into that brick wall a few times.
Yes.
And it's like, but on the other side, as I'm getting older, because yesterday was my birthday, you guys
Happy
know
birthday.
that.
happy
Yeah.
birthday again.
Thank you. I'm 58 and I'm getting closer to, tell you a quick, short little story. I always say, you know what they say, because that's what my mother said. My mother used to say, well, you know what they say. Mom, well, who's they? Well, you know them, okay. The old people say da-da-da. And then with my kids are in their late 20s, early 30s, and now I have grandsons. I realized a couple of weeks ago, I'm the old people that say it now. I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
hold on. That's me. That's just kind of scary. But as you get older, you want somebody to ask.
Yes.
You get really excited that somebody's going to ask because you feel like if you don't share it, it's just going to be lost.
You lost it with those generations.
It's going to be lost. So it's like, I would love it if somebody, I love it when a younger person or another person, they don't have to be younger, somebody who's new in the industry or wants to be do this, whatever their age is. I love it when they come up and say, hey, how do I do this? What do you think about that? Did you ever have this issue? You know, yeah, that's great. When I was younger, somebody told me I was in the military. They said, I said, my mother's driving me crazy. They said, what recipe did she make for you all the time when you were a kid? And I said, chicken and dumplings. They said, call her and ask her how to make it. And I said, I already know how to make chicken and dumplings. They said, you're missing the point. She's looking to feel needed and be connected. Call her and ask her how to make it. So for years on Sundays, we would have conversations about what I made for Sunday dinner, what she made for Sunday dinner. Well, did you use pepper? Or did you use banana peppers? What did you do with yours? Da, da, da. And it made us closer. And all I did was ask. That's what people want. So if you're out there and you're thinking, man, it would be nice to talk to my manager or my neighbor or somebody I've seen on television, because you can't hide anymore, honey. Go on social media, send them a message, somebody will get it to them.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Ask them, because that's all they want. They want to be asked, they want to be felt like they can share that information.
Isn't it interesting, Theresa and Mike? We're probably just having this conversation. But isn't it,
Nice knowing you.
isn't
Go ahead.
isn't it interesting that the younger people are worried about burdening us?
Yeah.
And then we're saying, burden us.
Yes,
You know,
please.
it's so it just goes back to kind of maybe risking. You know, what's that old saying? Without great risk, there's no great reward.
Yes,
so,
sir.
so if you want a relationship, risk a relationship, and then engage in that relationship. So I love what you're saying, Theresa.
Well, I came to you how many years ago, Tom, and asked you. I mean, and it started even before that, Tom. But I came to you 10 years ago and said, "Hey, will you disciple me?"
Yes,
right?
I did. Yes, I did.
And we've had this relationship for 26 years, something, long time. Anyway, but what I found,
I had to kick Mike out of school.
he did.
I did.
Well,
That's
you
all-
didn't actually kick me out of school, but you almost
I
did.
did, almost did.
That's good.
When he was 13, he thought he was getting kicked out of school. I sent him home with his dad.
Okay.
I was being a
Alrighty.
jerk. I was being a jerk.
Yeah, and
Alright.
that's for another time.
Yeah.
We've shared that before.
But what I found is now as a dad and a husband and all of these things, I go to the guys like yourself and like some others that we know that have raised kids to a certain level. They're adults now and had success with that, and their kids are doing well and serving the Lord or have good successful careers, have a good healthy marriage for a long time, and look to them as like how can I take your wisdom and try to not have to learn from my own mistakes.
And there again, it goes back around. I remember we had a complicated issue at CSU Bakersfield when we were having church there.
Yeah.
And some of the people that were trying to figure it out couldn't figure it out. So I called Mike Harvey about 5:30 a.m. and I go, can you make a 50-foot HDMI cable? He goes, what am I doing this for? I go, we're going to find a modem and we're going to plug it in. But I don't know how far away it was. And Mike made it, showed up, and it was there. So I'm saying it's okay to make deposits into a relationship, because you will need to make a withdrawal.
But
Yeah,
what I've
exactly,
seen
exactly.
is I always have, and I have multiple mentors. You're even mentoring us in some regards too, Theresa. But I have multiple mentors in different areas of
Yes, you
life.
do.
But then I also think it's important that, and I do this as well, and with my kids, of course, certainly, but other people beyond that. You need to have someone that's mentoring you, and you need to have someone that you're mentoring.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
But I've got to ask a question, though, because how much does social media play? It's like if you're under the age of 30, you didn't do the stuff that we did as kids.
No.
You know, my grandsons, you tell them to go outside and play, they go, what did I do wrong? You know, it's like, why do I have to go out there?
Yeah.
What's out there? You
Is
know?
it safe?
Is it safe? Where when I got home from school, that's what we wanted to do. We had to go, and we were out there until the lights came
Well,
on.
I'm
You
saying,
know?
Teresa,
So
you left in the morning before the sun came up, and you came home to
Yeah.
make sure you could eat one meal for the day.
right, exactly.
My mom would always tell us, food's just 5:30. If you guys are here,
Yeah.
great. If you're not, we're eating your food.
Yeah, but see now networking is, you know, you're gonna get arthritis in your thumbs because you're clicking the likes and you're, up swiping, and shifting this way, and and you got your head. I kid my grandson, my oldest, he's 15 going on 30, and his head is always this way, and I'm like, you do know life is going like this way. You're, what time's dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did
have
you
the
say
game at 2.
something?
You know?
And that kind of reminds me of, if I can, an interview that we're actually dropping today. So like by the time people are watching this episode, you can go back and check this out with Jeremy Adams, and he was talking all about that topic.
Yeah.
Being present.
Yeah, being present. So it's like not burdening. You think you're going to burden someone because you never interacted that way.
Yes.
Period. And it's like you got to get yourself, pierce the veil, get out of the bubble, be a human, and interact with a human. Say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How was your weekend? Did you go bowling? Have that conversation. They just want to know, did you see what happened with Britney Spears? Yep. She's got her money back. Isn't that wonderful? That's all they want to do. It's like you got to get out of your own way.
I agree, 100%. I love that. So as we're going through, hey, we are supporting Lucky's Rescue.
Lucky's Animal Rescue.
It's a great thing. You could go out to luckysanimalrescue.com. Today we're featuring Bubba. Bubba's a lab and a mix, and says that he's okay with dogs, but he has not been cat tested.
I say let's go test it.
I love it.
I love it. I mean, and he's wearing a cool bow tie. I hope you guys show that picture.
Yeah, make sure you
He's dressed impressed. So I say, let's go. Somebody's got a cat. Let's ask the producer if they have a cat. Let's go test it.
What kind of dogs do you like, Theresa?
All kinds. I mean, for me, I'm not I've gotten spoiled over the last 20 plus years. All of my dogs do not shed. Ooh. So now I'm, when I think about it, privilege. Now the idea of bringing the dog in that sheds, it's like they still do that? Really? What's going on?
They
with
haven't bred
this,
that out of them yet.
Right?
Isn't there a vacuum or something they could carry? But for me, right now, we have 3 in my house. We have a Maltipoo who's a lover, not a fighter. He will sit with you all day long. We've got a 15-year-old they believe is a Schnauzer boxer mix. Yeah, she's interesting to see. But she's got one tooth, and her tongue hangs out the side of her face all day long. And when she barks, she sounds like an Ewok. I'm just going to say.
Personality.
Awesome personality. She runs the house. She's got to go out every 45 minutes. And then we have one that is a Cocker Schnauzer mix and all crazy. Just barks at everything. But none of them shed. They get along really, really well. They share dishes and all that kind of stuff. I have a dog or a cat in my life, my whole life. I think one of the coolest combinations I had was when I was in the Navy in Virginia. I had an orange wing Amazon parrot that I got on a Monday, and a baby kitten that I got on Wednesday. They grew up together. So I've got pictures of the parrot riding on the cat's back.
That's how that happens.
Yeah.
They grow up together.
They grow up together.
Okay.
The parrot would crack peanuts and spit it at the cat so the cat would eat. They would sleep together. He'd stand up and lean into his body, and they'd sleep together. Yeah, they were awesome.
They were awesome.
And the cat's gone now because that was some years ago.
Cool.
But the parrot lives in a barn in Virginia, and now he scares the heck out of cows and pigs all day long.
Well, you and I, Tom, are both German Shepherd guys.
Yeah, there again, I've always liked big dogs, but as I've gotten older, my last big dog, which was a military adoption, passed. We have a pound mix that it said it was a Chihuahua on the
on the tag. You believed it?
And so we've done the DNA, and it's got 6 breeds. Chihuahua's not even in it. So her name's Brandy. It's my kids picked it out, and I have 2 cats. And so I never was a cat person until I had my daughter.
Oh, so we can take Bubba to his house.
I'm just sitting there going, we started this conversation with you saying you're going to have co-hosts. When is Bubba going to co-host? That's what I want to know.
Right? Oh, we need to have him come
Where
out.
Bubba's in. So as we keep going on, I'm going to ask you, Theresa, the question we try to ask everybody, what's something new that maybe people don't know about you? I know you have a lot of relationships. Is there anything that maybe that as we've dropped a lot of things, a lot of people know that I played the violin. They know that Justin Greer writes poetry. What's in your repertoire, your wheelhouse that maybe you've never shared before?
You know, if you didn't know me, because this is the show that I'm doing now is the first time I sat in front of the camera. I'm always directing and producing. So this is the first time I'm hosting. So if you didn't know me over 2 years ago, you wouldn't know that I used to have a gap that was literally as wide as my thumb. Earlier, we were talking about lisp and having to understand names. And that, I did that all my life.
Oh, wow.
2 years ago, I'm at my dentist office and she tells me, you know, if you really want to fix your gap, you can. I'm like, no, they told me they can't. She said, oh yeah, you can fix it if you want. So at 56, I find myself at an orthodontist getting this, you know, I got braces I wear every dang day if I'm not sitting here, and getting the lisp gone. So I still hear the lisp in my ears. And when people that have known me older than 2 years ago see me, they go, wait a minute, how my voice has changed, the tone has changed, and my confidence has changed because I had to learn how to smile.
Yeah.
You know, because all my life I had this humongous gap. So when people said smile, I went, you know, I never showed my teeth. It's amazing how you have to learn how to adjust. And today on the interview I did today before I came here today was the first time somebody said, you've got a beautiful smile. I have never heard that in my whole life.
Because you do.
And I sat there and I went, and she didn't know why the heck was I sitting there grinning at her.
I love that.
I'm like,
And
that's
as long
amazing.
as I've known you, you've always had this big, beautiful smile.
Thank you very much.
So can I
that's
ask
something
you a
that most people
question
don't
on
know.
set? Since we're one lisper to the other.
Yeah.
When you swallow, does your tongue still go forward?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Now,
So
if you're on the
maybe,
audience,
maybe you guys should talk about
well, lispers are usually tongue thrusters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's.
And as you can see, I'm doing it now.
Yeah. Now, if her and I sit down and talk too much, pretty soon we're going. Because it's just two together. So that's fascinating for me because I wouldn't
And
know.
the funny thing is that I go back and listen to like interviews or maybe, you know, because we have B-roll, right? So I'm talking, directing, blah, 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 and I'll hear my voice and I'll hear that lisp. And then I listen now because in my head, it still sounds like the lisp. So
And no one's going to be in here in my
amazing.
head.
Yeah.
Because I still, to this day, a lot of people go, hey, I like when you speak. And I go, I don't. You know, because it plagued me all these years. I used to, when you and I were in school, we're just getting personal now, Gabe. When you and I were in school, I used to hate that machine that came in and they would start testing us for hearing and speech.
Right.
Because then Tommy went to special classes for about 2 months. And my friends were always like, Tom, he'll be back. And I was like, see you guys later. But it was just something that I didn't get caught on to till I started in my athletic career having to speak. And it was, you know, I just said, I've got to overcome this. And I did. So when I went into the ministry and I started hearing that Apostle Paul saying, I'm not impressive with speech, I go, really? When Moses says I stutter, I'm like, I'm in good company. If I can even be included in that group, which Moses and Paul, but I'm just saying, God doesn't worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
He uses us in spite of, I just love the fact that you excelled despite that, because that's admirable.
So Theresa, we promised the viewers, listeners, an answer to a question when we started this show.
All right.
How does an IT programmer become a broadcast media powerhouse? So let's go back. Let's start with your early career.
Okay, 2 years, 1 month, and I learned to listen. That's the short answer. But
Love it.
But it's the right answer.
it's the short answer.
I
Say
love
that again
stuff.
slowly for our audience.
2 ears, 1 mouth, and learn to listen. That's
Yep.
the short answer. The longer answer is I got in computer programming in high school to keep me. I'm from Chicago, south side of Chicago, and I was starting to get into some not so great things on the south side. And my swim coach said, no. Because when I went to school, one, I have a genius IQ, and Chicago Public School, a genius IQ is not the business. And I would go to school. Back then, it didn't matter how many days a week you went to school as long as you passed the test.
Yes.
So I would be in the building, and I'd see the teachers, and they say, oh, Miss Goss, I'll see you in class today. It's Tuesday. But I'll catch you for that test on Friday. You know? And I would sit there, listen to the lecture, because they always recapped everything that's going to be on the test, right? On Thursday, sit there, and I had a genius IQ and a photographic memory, so I would sit there and literally, that was my first edit job. The test would be here, and I'd start playing it in my head. Fast forward, it was about 15 minutes in. Oh, yeah, there's the answer. You know, that's how I got started.
love that.
So I got really, really bored with school and got into all kinds of issues. And my swim coach said, "Come here, I got something to show you." And she walked me down this hall that has the no one can enter, you're forbidden, da 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 da, right? So nobody ever knew what was back there. So she walks me down. I'm like, they're going to drop me in a well or something, you know? And she opens the door for not going to class. And there's these giant mainframe computers
IBMs?
in there. Yeah. And these things are so big that, I mean, one of them wouldn't really fit in this room. It was humongous. Your phone is more powerful than this thing was.
Was it 360 or IBM 360, 370?
I
Those
think it was
were the
360s.
monsters.
Yeah, they were monsters, right?
Her and I have a kinship with this because my degree is in computer science. I've shared that with you guys. I'm a nerd, geek on the inside and a jock on the outside.
See, and I'm a media person on the outside and a super nerd on the inside. I'm really happy with 3 computers in front of me
I agree.
and just coding in the middle of the night. That's my thing. But that's how I got started in computer programming. I now program in 17 languages, and I've been doing it ever since. It's what I do. I started web developing in '93. I started app developing in 2010. It's like we got into OTT, on-top television, creating channels in 2016. So it's just become this thing.
You go to bed flow charting in your mind, right?
Yeah.
It's funny.
I still go to bed with a notepad next to me. My iPad's on the floor, but I have a notepad next to me because I wake up writing down answers to problems that my brain is always figuring it out. So I'll wake up and go, oh yeah, if I move this here and if I do that, and yeah, that works, and then I go back to sleep. But
can I share this?
Yeah.
I'll just share a thing. I get inspired sometimes in the shower.
Everybody does.
And I'm like, where is the notepad?
You don't have a whiteboard?
No, you do?
Yeah. You can get waterproof whiteboards, man. What's wrong with you?
God, I'm like, God, what do you speak me in
Well,
here
that's
for?
why you have a genius IQ.
Yeah. I'm like, God, why in here? Why not at my desk with the pen in my hand?
No. Get a waterproof whiteboard, slap that bad boy on the shower, because I immediately will be like, yeah.
I know. I was like, I'll remember this when I get out.
I used to write it on Windows. You want to irritate the people in your house? Yeah, write code on Windows. They're like, what is that? I didn't have paper. You'll figure it out. But in 2004, I had an idea of doing a digital magazine, the first digital magazine we ever did. It was called Black Insight Magazine. It was the first interactive digital magazine for African Americans. We went from 0 to 1.8 million subscribers in less than 2 years.
0 to how many again?
1.8 million subscribers in less than 2 years. And I
can't get TikTok.
And I wanted to, have a fashion show in it. I wanted to have a talk show in it. I wanted to do all the stuff that nobody had ever done inside of a PDF before. And when I decided I wanted to do it, everybody was like, and who's going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. So I went in the yellow pages and I started looking up, wedding photographers and videographers in the yellow pages, interviewed some people, ended up hiring the cheapest guy who ended up being he's a fraud detective for the Las Vegas Police Department, and video is his hobby.
Wow.
So I convinced New York to let me have a penthouse and do my first interview.
Really?
Yeah, my first interview was a woman named Mother Love. She had a national talk show.
Wow.
She's a comedian, blah, 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 Mother Love, and I had a lady named Amy Jo Greer that I met at a mixer and said, you're going to host my talk show? She said, what talk show? I said, the one that will build around you. She said, what you know about talk? I said, nothing. We're going to figure it out. So we're sitting there,
energy.
and then Mother Love looks up and she says, it's just me and the guy I hired out of the yellow pages. She said, wait a minute, honey, where's the monitors? I said, I thought you were a comic. I didn't think you sang. She said, no, I'm not going to sing. I said, then why do you need a monitor? She said, no, monitor, so you can see what I look like. I said, ow. I clicked the little button and the little thing comes out of the camera. I said, see, we can see, it's right there. And she went, oh my gosh. She's like, okay, move this camera over there, move that camera over there, move this light. What is that? Where's my mic? And she directed the entire episode.
Wow.
From her seat as a guest.
Oh, I love that.
And her closing credits were, know where you're going before you get on a plane, because who knew? I didn't get paid to direct this. This is how she shut it down. The vice president of New York comes up. We have a whole wall of food. Now, you know how much bottled water is.
Yes.
in a hotel room. So you can imagine, I'm cheap. I'm not, no, Tigo don't play that. So we saw this whole wall of food. I said, don't y'all touch that. That's probably thousands of dollars. Don't touch it. So they're like, okay. Vice President comes up. He said, is there a problem with the food? I said, no. Is that for us? He said, oh, I told you I was going to send you craft services. I said, well, I heard craft. I thought it was going to be a cheese tray. That's for us? Yeah, that's how I got started in production. It was literally, I just started doing it. And then I saw an interview a couple of years later with Tyler Perry, and they said, you never went to film school. Other than vacation, you never held a camera, but you're doing major feature films. How is that possible? He says, it's really funny and a really easy story. When your check clears, they do what you tell them. And I'm like, oh, he said, so I hired a crew and I stood behind them and said, why did you push that? What is this for? Why has that mic got that thing on it? What's going on over here? Why is it dark over there? And he's like, because I paid them, they had to answer me. I went, does that work? I called somebody and said, I want to do a show. I will stand behind you. My check's so clear. You're going to teach me everything to do with talk shows. And they were like, we're creating our competition. Yeah, do you want the check or not?
Capitalism is
That's how I
right?
started. So that's how I went from IT
But
to production.
isn't that how everybody successful? Isn't that how everybody that's successful really gets into something? Is they're so that I'll use myself in this. I'm just too dumb to know any better.
Yeah. When you
So
when
I
you
just start
close
moving
the doors
forward.
before you start, that's how you don't grow. You want to grow, open the doors. You know, usually the doors, the windows, my mama says if the door is closed, find a window. Somehow air got in there. So that's what you have to do.
Step out, do something. Start posting TikToks when you only get 42 views.
Yeah, well, Mike says that discourage you. You go, heck no. I want 43 now. so you know what's so funny? I used to when I started doing corporate management for IT, and I had to sell some old farmers on radios. And they go, son, we've been doing this for hundreds of years without radios. I go, but have you been doing it well? And he's like, okay, I got 5 minutes. I go, so you got a tractor stuck in the middle of the field. What is your way if you get it fixed? He goes, well, we drive in and we send somebody out the next day. I go, what if you had something radio? You said, hey, could you send somebody out now? Next hour, the guy shows up, fix your tractor, and you're back plowing the next day. And he's like,
What a concept.
He goes, I think we need radios. But it went from, we don't need radios, son. We've been doing it this way forever, to, oh my gosh, radios might help us in farming. You know?
No,
So it's having that idea, and I love your ideas. I love it.
Yeah, so cool. So where has it gone from there, Theresa?
Well, I've now produced shows all over the world. Thanks to COVID, you know, I virtually direct, and it's fun because people are learning. Now we're starting a whole program to teach people how to build their podcasts and actually give them distribution. We're calling it distribution as a service, DAS. So people are telling us whether they want to be local, international, national, you know, just hit the whole state of Kentucky. We'll take care of them. And then we're bringing some of the biggest stage speakers in the world together. And we're giving people opportunity to learn how to speak from stages, learn how to do a great interview and have fun at it, not be very stiff shirt, get out there, have a good time, and then be able to stand on these stages with some of the greatest minds there are on the planet.
Love that.
That's what we're doing right
people.
now. We're empowering people. We're here to serve. And we're here to answer the question. You know, the question. And the question is, what's stopping you? What's stopping you? And you said something earlier today. It's either excuses or
Results.
results,
You don't
right?
get both.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like, what's stopping you? You got 15,000 excuses, but you got an iPhone that has a 4K camera in. Turn the thing on and just start talking.
Yeah.
Because even Oprah sucked when she started.
Yeah.
Okay, you go back to Baltimore, Oprah looked like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Everybody goes through
agree
that.
with that.
You know, but you're never going to get through it if you never get started.
And you know what? And like you said, you got to start. You were talking about the groups that have equipment and they just never get out of the gate.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why you can buy really good equipment that's never been used on eBay because they never use it. You know,
you're
it's a
so
great
funny.
benefit to me.
You're so funny because I'm into fitness, and so during the pandemic, everybody's buying weight equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, it was expensive, and I go after the pandemic, every yard sale will, have the garage door up and then wait for sale. And they go, you have any tips on that? I go, yeah. This I'll give you guys this tip. When you go in, buy the bars, but don't buy the weights. the wife will not let you leave
Unless
without
you take those weights.
for free, because she's been moving them around. And those 45-pound plates, they weigh 45 pounds.
Yep,
And
yep,
you can't
yep.
get your fingers on them. And so I have first friends try it. They go, it is so true. They actually chase you out and go, you want the weights? Yeah, I want to pay for them. Then you don't have to pay for them, just take them.
So if somebody's got an idea and they want to get out there and start doing this, but they're afraid to, like, what would your advice be? Like, what's the first thing they should do?
I tell everybody this, and I'm gonna tell it directly to you. You have a production company in your pocket in 2021. Period. Okay? You don't need to go out and buy great lights. You don't need to go out and buy great cameras. You just need to get in front of it. And if you've got a phone, whether it's an iPhone or the brand that this young man is carrying that we're not even going to talk about, they have 4K cameras in them. They're more than just taking pictures of your kids or video of the latest accident on the corner. You can actually create videos for your business, for your club, for your group. You've got a production company in your pocket. Now, mind you, I'm not putting myself out of business or the producer that's looking at me like, hey, don't mess with my money. I'm saying that this is how you start.
Yeah.
This is how you get past your fear. And then once you get past your fear, you call us.
Yeah.
And then we come in with the lights and the cameras, and you don't sit here like a deer in the headlight. And we're charging you by the hour, because I don't know about these guys. We charge by the hour.
Am I getting charged right now for you?
Yeah, you didn't know. No, this is your house, so I'm okay.
Theresa, I can tell why people would want to be involved with you. I really do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To me, the first time I met you, I told Mike, I like this guy. And I can say it on our show, you're a believer.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
how much, can I ask you, how much of their faith has helped you through the military and getting to where you're at?
Everything.
Amen.
It's everything. Because when I grew up, you had two religions. You know, you had your faith, and then you had bowling. In my house, you had to go bowling every Saturday. And I'm an only child, but my cousins we all grew up together, and we're all about 4 or 5 years apart. So that meant we hit every league. So our parents would drop us off at 8 in the morning for the Pee Wee League for me, because I was the youngest, and we were there till 6 in the evening. It was a way for them to have a day without being kids running all over the place, right? And then Sunday, church. Wednesday, church. Thursday, why are you sitting here? Go to church. You know, that was a big part. Actually, that's how I knew I wanted to speak from stages. And it's not really a story I think I've ever told on camera, but...
Would you mind telling her?
No, my uncle was the pastor for my family church. And he was, going through a sermon. And back then, you don't know this, honey, but back then, kids were seen and not heard.
Yes.
You know, they wanted to know where you were in the room, but don't you make no noise. So I was sitting on the floor. I was 8 years old. It was Easter time, and he was practicing his sermon for Easter Sunday the next day. And I look up. I say, "Uncle?" He says, "Yes, honey." I said, "You missed a part." My mother loses it. "Don't you tell the pastor. He's the pastor." And I'm like, "Buddy, okay." And he says, No. Tell me what I missed. So I told him. He said, "What comes next?" I told him. He said, "What comes after that?" I told him. He said, "Okay, tomorrow you do that in church." And I went, huh?
Yeah.
And my mother got on the phone. This is when, you don't know this either, honey. This is when phones were mounted on the wall and the cord could run about 100 feet away.
Yeah.
My mom gets on the phone, runs into the closet with a chair, calling everybody. She gonna be, you gotta come to church. She's speaking at the church. And I got up there and I thought I was gonna be terrified. And he turned to me and it was like a light just came on. I was like, yes, I love doing this. This is it. That's how I knew I was going to speak. That's how I knew I was going to be in this environment at some point in my life.
You know what's super cool? I just realized this as she's talking, Tom. Teresa's our first female guest on a regular lunch break.
It is. You are. You're our first female guest.
Let me
That
sit
is
up a
so
little
true.
straighter.
So we've heard what you have been saying, our audience.
Yeah.
Because
We did a special with Peyton.
Yes.
And you're our first regular guest.
Yeah. So thank you, Theresa.
I
so
do
much.
have a complaint though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it real. The show's called,
Lunch
Lunch
break.
break. And there's no lunch.
right.
Okay.
What's up with that?
We had lunch last week.
Do y'all not eat every day? I mean, do you know something I don't know?
I'm supposed to be on keto, and we had he helped me out with that this morning with some oatmeal.
You do know if you call it the roller rink, people would expect you to be skating. You called it the lunch break.
Well, we can get some lunch after.
No, that's after the lunch break.
It's called a snack.
See what we're
Dessert.
here. We're here. We're gonna leave him over there with his interesting.
Actually, we did lunch the last couple episodes before we were filming here, and that was thanks to you. Your idea, and you brought that on, and that should have been a no-brainer.
My idea, and I still didn't get. Did you see what happened? I still didn't get lunch. My idea.
Or paid.
Or pay. All right, I'm out of here. No, this is fun, guys.
Teresa,
I thank you.
Teresa, you've been a blast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
thank you for blessing us with you being on.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I love it.
The,
and your help and your input and your feedback, like you're helping us do some awesome things. So, we want to thank today Jeff Miller, who's our technical director, Kevin Prothero, who's our director of photography.
Yep. We have our own producer, Mike Harvey, and my co-host today, and he has a company called MLH Solutions, Production, Distribution, and Marketing, and they're helping us bring this show to you guys. Our creative consultants, Tessa and Taylor Touchstone, and we're just glad you joined today. I want to thank Teresa and all the people she's blessing with her knowledge, and thank you again.
This was fun. Thank you for having me.
You guys take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.